Hey guys, Corey here. So I got something pretty cool to show y'all today. This is a book that was found with a couple things inside of it. It's called The Ancient Mariner. And essentially what this book is just a whole bunch of little poems all inside of it. I think the copyright on this book is 1898. And tucked away inside of it, about right here on this page, were a couple of items. One was this envelope, which is really cool. It's got a wax stamp right there, and on it it is marked March 12th. So I'm guessing that's March 1912. On the front, the name is Miss Katie Cowell, 156 York Road, Bedminster, Bristol. On the back of it, just a little note from the person that it was sent from. Now, a letter also came with this, but the letter was dated June 4th. This is dated March 12th, so I'm assuming the letter and the envelope don't go together. But inside that envelope was this letter right here, and it has a head on it for West Central Hotel, and that's in, London. It was dated June 4th, 1912. I'm not going to read the entire letter to you. I'll upload a couple photos so you guys can read the whole thing, but the gist of it is it was written to someone named Katie, and throughout this letter he was saying congratulations for her being newly married and just getting a house to where she lives. Now, she did live in Bedminster, Bristol. This letter was sent to London. Now, the date on this letter is June 4th. April. So the whole story of this thing is, this is 2 months after April. Now, on the very back on this, let's see. Alright. I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but... Alright. Well, we're going to start right here on the bottom where it says, "What a mercy that you were not on that ill fate Titanic. For although your life would probably have been saved as the women and children were." So what this is talking about is he's at the very beginning, thank God, basically, that you weren't on the Titanic. People lost their lives on that ship. So it started making me wonder, why would he mention the Titanic? And we found out a little bit of research about this Katie Cowell. So she did have something to do with the Titanic. She was on the Baltic, which I'm sure everybody knows. Baltic was a ship that sailed out right before the Titanic. It was basically on the same routes. So I'm going to go ahead and open this letter up so you can read it while I keep talking, and I'll just keep it like this. So she was on the Baltic, and the Baltic arrived in New York on, Katie Cowell arrived in New York to Ellis Island on April 6, 1912. The Titanic sunk on April 15, 1912. The Baltic was the ship that sent the ice warning to the Titanic on April 14th. What was pretty cool is after the Baltic docked in New York, it went back out to try to find survivors and whatnot. But it's pretty awesome because this lady left London, left on the Baltic, arrived at Ellis Island April 6, 1912. And it was pretty cool just find this old letter with so much history. And even though she wasn't physically on the Titanic, there's talk about it, which I personally think is still very cool. I still think it's cool to have a letter of someone that even went through Ellis Island and the whole immigration thing in the early 1900s. So the envelope was in March. The letter was in June. She arrived in Ellis Island on April. So what I was not understanding was the letter was written in June, and this gentleman was still in London when he mailed the letter out. This envelope is directed towards Bedminster, Bristol. So this is obviously before she left, so she was in the States. No, I did a little bit more research on her. If you want to go to the many heritage sites or even the Ellis Island site, you can look at this lady. I believe her name on the Ellis Island database is Kate Cowell. She arrived there April 6th. She was born around 1885. And it's just really cool going through this whole thing. One of the other heritage sites will give you the whole family setup of her and just tell you a little bit more about this. So the letter was right here, and I did a little bit more research on the book, because on the very back of the book there are just a series of initials, but none of those initials line up with any of the heritage websites I looked up of anything being in her family tree. But anyhow, that's my sharing for the day. If you guys think it's cool, let me know. I don't know if I'm going to be getting rid of this one or not. So that's all. Alright, see you next time.